I'm a new Christian, taking you back to that day. I'm 17. I just got saved. I'm sitting in the same church just a few months later, just before my 18th birthday. I'm about to graduate from high school, and I don't have a clue what I'm going to do. I was not academically connected, trust me, because I didn't apply myself. And I'm frustrated about my future, and I'm not proud of this, but I'm just that close to not graduating from high school, academically. So I'm sitting in this church. He's convicting me. He's changing me. And I'm just worshiping on a Sunday, and I hear, not audible, but I hear this voice kind of prompting this picture, this thought in my mind and my spirit. And I hear, you are a pastor. I was about as far from a pastor as you can get. But those words, I heard it a couple times just in this one service, and I'm sitting there shaking. Me? And you got to understand the context. I heard the voice of the Holy Spirit, and it was just, your name is Reverend James Gerald McKinney. And I was just shaking. The church is maybe 100 people. It had been 100 people for 100 years. And it was great. I love it. And so everybody knew everybody. We knew our stuff. And they knew my stuff. Because I told them, I'd gotten up and shared why I gotten saved and how all the stupid stuff I'd done and how I'm excited to be a Christian. I don't know if it was between a song or something. I walked boldly up to the front and told my pastor, Pastor Hall, who I love very much. He's still alive today. And I said, Pastor, I don't know what's going on, but I just heard God speaking. He called me to be a pastor. He goes, he did? And he says, here, you take the microphone. You need to tell the church. I said, He said, yeah, do it. So you guys know me as Jerry McKinney. I had a very high voice. And I shared, a couple of things. You've known me since I was a little boy here, and you know my mom and dad. And but I got news for you today. God just spoke to me, and my name is now changed. I am Reverend James G. McKinney. and they did more than what you just did. They were falling on the floor weeping. They couldn't believe it. I mean, there was some... And that was the beginning of a journey. This encounter with the Holy Spirit. Not only does he convict, not only does he bring you to change so it really betters your life, makes you holy, man, he starts directing you. He speaks. And if you've never experienced the voice of the Spirit of God speaking to you, you're missing out. It's not for the people who are called to preach. It's for humans who are saved. For every believer, the voice of God speaking and directing and challenging and calling you here and calling you there. In the book of Acts, so many times Paul was trying to go to some place and the Spirit said, don't go. Another place, the Spirit compelled Paul. Another place, the Spirit spoke to Peter to do this. The speaking, the voice of the Holy, it wasn't audible. It was that voice of someone living inside of you, residing in your spirit, prompting you and urging you to go a direction or to do a certain thing or to talk to a certain person. How many times have I heard that voice say, talk to that person? And you talk to them and they become a Christian, their life changes. We're in our new little neighborhood, Tammy and I. We're a new Christian, a new couple. Been married for about 2 years. We had our first baby. I'll tell you about him in a second. His name is Jamie. He was born with major physical difficulties. He had a syndrome. He couldn't hear. He couldn't see. And he had to be fed through a tube every hour. Many nights we called 911, 911, and have him rush in with paramedics to revive him so he wouldn't die. He's turning blue. I revived him from death. So we got little Jamie in our neighborhood, and we noticed across the way a neighbor had a child that we heard that had some difficulties. So we thought we'd go over and talk, and we walk over with little Jamie, knock on the door. Hi, Jerry, Tammy, Jamie. Yeah, come on in. Their son had similar difficulties. This guy, he couldn't say one sentence without 4 F words. He was funny, and I loved him, and he was just one of the coolest guys ever. But man, did he have a foul mouth. And he was smoking, and he was drinking, and he was loud, and just things that I wasn't comfortable with. I just really uncomfortable. But we said hi and talked to him. I went home, and I just feared the Holy Spirit. Go back and see him again. Go back and see him. Ask him to come to church with you. I'm just hearing this. What is that? That's the voice of the Holy Spirit who lives inside of a believer. And now, I wish I had it on my phone. I'd let you listen to it. 25, 30 years later, Scott and Lori Espedal, I saw him in Portland about 2 months ago. When I left, he sent me a voicemail on my phone. I wish I kept it. He says, Jerry, I just want you to know, so good to see you. I haven't seen you for years. Little did you know, when you came into that raunchy sinner's house on that day to show me your son, that my wife and I would be saved, our children would be saved, and many other people would be saved because you just knocked on our door. See, it's not rocket science. It's not complicated. The Holy Spirit flows. When it doesn't flow, it's because we're restricting the flow. He works in the life of the believer. This is not spooky. It is not weird. It's supernaturally natural or naturally supernatural. It's just life. The life of the believer who has the Spirit of God cohabitating inside of them.